welcome to Creatively Geeky. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight, I'm joined by Jennifer Hetzel.
What's up?
Laura Knowlton, how are you doing?
Good.
And our favorite Canadians, Chris and Ray Andrew. How are y'all?
Ooh, you hear that, Sean? They're the favorite.
Well, you know what? Let's see if he listens to the episode and comes at me. So, this is episode 5 of Creatively Geeky. So we are still in the middle of the crap storm, as it were. So
Of 2020.
Yep. 2020 can pretty much die at this point. I'm done with it.
Suck it.
Yeah. It's funny, on our last episode of the Epically Geeky Show, I asked the question, would you rather fast forward through the rest of 2020 or would you rather redo it? I'm sticking with my answer of redoing it for reasons I'll explain in just a moment. So anyway, let's talk about updates on the things that we said we were going to do from the last show. So would anyone like to go first?
Sure.
All right, Ray. According to this, you were working on a computer build and you were cleaning or working on your shop. So how's that going?
So the shop is coming along. Now it needs to be cleaned up a little bit more, but that's because work is happening in the shop. I'm actually able to get some work done in the shop. I got a new light hung. I've got the miter box, the miter table all built and ready to go there.
Nice.
So progress is being made in the shop. And then super excited because Quinn's computer build went well, despite having to call down to Texas for some assistance from Lou.
Hey, that's what friends are for.
That's right. So after
Tech support, Texas.
Yep.
After an entire night of thinking it over and trying it all, and then it was the next day, I think I finally figured out what happened. Why it wouldn't boot up is because the big ass video card bumped out when I installed it. It bumped out the cables for the drives, so the drives wouldn't work. And yeah, you've got a ghost in your house. And
No, I have a little black cat, and I forgot to put the lock on the door, so he may be joining me soon.
So yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's my update.
Good deal. So computer's working, everything's good?
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
Good
but
deal.
tell them what Quinn did the day after you got it all fixed and.
Oh no, what happened?
So a long time. Do we have time to get into this story?
It was like a year.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
It was a year ago, Quinn.
It was a while before that. I created 2 Google accounts for the kids. This is before Google had the Google Family accounts where you could create. So
Right,
I had to lie about the kids' ages in order to get them Google accounts. It's totally fine. Except that Quinn, the day that I was setting up his computer and I had just put it all together, just got him his own profile on the computer based off of that email, he noticed that his date, the birthday was wrong, so he changed it. And we forgot the password, and I couldn't log into it, and I got the warning on my email, which is a backup email for it.
Someone logged in.
You have 30 days or your account will be deleted. So I had to reset him up on everything, including the Xbox. So all of his, everything, Xbox, you name it, everything was
It
off.
wouldn't reset it for you?
Nope.
Because
Hey, he's being watched like a hawk right now. That was the penance. For
Oh,
not
that's not fun at all.
Instead, we just did it.
Yeah, so I spent an entire day redoing all of his accounts.
I've had to do something similar, but for kind of a different reason recently. So, Chris, you said you were going to work on decorating the house with posters. How's that going?
Yeah, so all of our posters are in now, and I started.
Can I turn?
Put it just a second.
Oh.
Just a second. And so all of our posters are in. The kids' posters are in, so they're in their rooms. And I started this week, starting to put pictures up slowly because I'm waiting on well, I don't know when it's going to come, but I would like a credenza. So whenever I get that, some stuff's going to go on that. But yeah, and so on the main floor here is plaster. Upstairs, it's all drywall. So down, I had to learn real quick that nails don't go down here. They just chip away the plaster.
Mm-hmm.
So
Got it with screws.
Screws down here. And nails can go upstairs because
Gotcha.
I've got a couple of chunks of plaster already.
They're making a strategically placed picture behind.
Yeah, there's some pictures that are placed in a certain way because I've taken out a decent plaster.
Nice.
Nice. So I have one poster up right now. I don't remember. I think we got a bunch of posters.
Yeah, there's a few, and we'll show them afterwards because there's some great ones.
There's some really good ones. Right now, we have a Narnia one up. And yeah, so that is starting to happen. So it's going to take some time. We have a lot of artwork, and I got to figure out where it's going to go.
Good deal.
Coming along.
But
We haven't been.
coming along.
It's not done. You haven't done nothing.
No, it's not that I haven't done nothing.
She's been stripping a door down back to wood. So.
Wow. So you told me about this offline. So you're stripping this door like multiple layers of paint off of it, right?
Well, the door, thankfully not. The door, it was painted only with one layer of paint, and it was recent. My aunt had painted it. We bought my cousin's house. So and she's 25 and she likes more of a modern, light, bright feel. Same with Logan, who's raising her hand. So she painted it white because the original varnish and finish on it had started to crackle.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of looked like alligator skin. So they just painted it. So what's been the pain in the ass is taking up that varnish.
That old varnish that's like 100 years old.
Yeah, but it's like 110 years old. 110 years old.
I didn't realize you bought from your cousin.
Yes, so it just worked out. She was
Okay.
Yeah, she moved in with her boyfriend.
And they got a dog.
I think I was happy.
Good deal.
So happy for them. And everybody that's happily coupled.
We really should do a pre-show for this show. I'm just saying. There's only like 5 callbacks.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Okay.
Well, Jen, what have you been working on? You said you were working on a way to automate watering your garden.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Now I'm still hand watering every single night because I can't get up early enough to do it. And it's not going great. My garden is slowly dying. Like everything in it is just slowly one by one dying. And all the corn got attacked, mutilated by something. So like 3 days in a row, I just found my corn strewn about in the yard. And it was finally starting to grow little corn cobs, and they were so cute. And my squash is just, nothing's doing good in my garden. I have a few tomato plants that are coming along, but like I keep finding freaking tomatoes fallen on the ground with holes in them. So I'm like, do I even get those this year? So anyways, garden's not going great. Haven't gotten the watering system set up. That would make my life a lot easier, but otherwise, I've been channeling most of my energy and anger into activism the last month. So trying to be productive in that.
There you go. That could definitely be a creative endeavor.
Yeah.
Lauren, what you were going to be working on cleaning your office and working on some cosplay stuff.
So I actually got stuff cleaned somewhat, and I've gotten a few things done with my cosplay. But I'm not quite as far along as I really need to be. I'm finding a million other things besides what I actually need to do.
Yes, I know that.
Feel.
We need to talk. We should do a show on that. It's just on, the little things in life. So, of course, I know we've already touched on it before. So,
how life gets in the way of your creativity.
Yeah. Creativity is supposed to be based kind of off of life and what we see and know and love, and it just seems like it just pulls you away from what you want to do. So
stupid adulting.
I know, right?
Yeah, I posted a Facebook picture of like me in high school with my oboe.
I saw that.
And like 2 or 3 people asked me, "Do you still play?" And I'm like, "No, because life took over and I don't have time and I'm adulting." And it just made me sad because I really did enjoy playing and I enjoy music and I haven't done it in so long. I'm like, Okay. Thanks for reminding me, guys. I need to bust out the oboe. It's gonna
Do you
sound
still
awful.
have it?
I do.
Wow. Okay.
But it's one of those things that if you don't have the right reed, it just sounds awful.
Yeah.
But nobody else will hear it, so I guess I could give it a shot. It's just me.
That's funny. The thing that I said I was going to be working on is my proton pack, and I went weeks and weeks working on this thing, and it should not have taken that long. I told my wife I've come to a realization that I know I'm cheap, and I need to bust out of that, because I would like order a part and it would come in, and then it might break. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I figured out what I did wrong. So when the next one comes in, I can do it the right way, So yeah. So I told my wife, I said, here's the deal. I said, next time I go to order parts, I'm going to tell you, not because I'm asking for permission, but I'm asking you to remind me to order 2 or 3 at the minimum. Like, and the thing is, though, sometimes it's stupid. It's like a 50-cent or $1.50 part. And I'm just like, just freaking order 3 of them and be done with it. I was going for, there were several things on my proton pack I was working on, and if you go to my Instagram, you can see my feed and see it. It's running in the back here. Number one, I changed the way that the LEDs are going. Like, they were going, of course it's going opposite in the video right now, but they were going counterclockwise. I wanted them to go clockwise, so I fixed that. The LED, bar graph that's on the wand itself, there were 2 LEDs burned out, and I had to work and finally figured that out and got that fixed. I greatly increased the smoker on it, so like it'll spews a ton of smoke, which is what I've always wanted. To the point I still need to go to. I'm still looking to go. I've looked it up at least to make sure this is a thing, but I want to go to a couple of different. Hopefully, the first vape shop I go to, I can find what I need. I'm wanting to find a vape that smells like toasted marshmallow. So I can put it in there with the actual smoke. So
you are such a nerd.
It's gonna be so awesome. So that whenever it smokes, people will be like, "Is that marshmallow?" I'll be like, "Yeah, well, you can't get all the stuff out."
Well,
sometimes.
it's really legit. So
yeah. Anyway, so I worked on that, but the problem was I was going for a stretch goal of I wanted to make it so that when you would hit the fire button, that the wand would like vibrate some. So I had bought a motor and I had it wired up and I had the code correctly. And as soon as I hit the fire button, the entire thing shuts down and reboots. And I'm just like, oh, crap. It's pulling way too much. It's pulling either too much voltage or too many watts. And I'm sure if I were a smarter person, I could probably sit down and figure it out. And I'm like, nope, I'm done. I'm happy with what it is. This is one of those things I'm like, just be happy. You've got it doing all this other awesome stuff. Just go with it. So it's pretty much set. I still need to pull it down and weather it, because the rest of my equipment looks like it's kind of been to hell and back. So I want to make sure that the pack looks like it as well, because I don't want anything to stick out like a sore thumb. But yeah, so I'm done with that. I'm very happy with that. As a bonus thing, I just happened to see someone post on a Facebook thing about, this is my Spirit of Halloween PK meter. And the way the thing used to work is you would hit one button. Well, you'd hit one button and the wings would go up, the lights would go, it would do an entire cycle, and then it would close back down. You hit the other button, the wings would open, the lights would go through a fast cycle, then a slow cycle, and it would just keep doing that until you hit the button and to make it go back down. And the change to it now is one button makes it light up. The other one lets me slowly move up the wings if I want them. And then I can just hit the button again, and I can pull them back down.
Oh.
So I think Lainey wants me to alter hers as well. Literally, it was like 4 solder points, and that was it. I was like, this was the easiest freaking modification. So
Nice.
to the point that whenever I posted it to some of the other Ghostbusters, they're like, dude, the next time we're together, you have to do that for me. I'm like, yeah, I can actually do that. That's something I don't feel like I would be over promising, saying, yeah, let me just, solder that real quick. It's like 6 screws, 4 solder points, done. So I don't even think I had to use an additional cable. I think I got to use all the cables that were already in it. So anyway, pretty excited about that. So All right. Well, let's move on to our tonight's actual topic. This tonight's topic is about giving yourself a break, and this is a very important thing to me right now because a week and a half ago, my father passed away, kind of unexpectedly. 2 years ago, he actually had a massive asthma attack, and called 911. He was at a hospital, and his heart stopped for 10 minutes. He was legally dead for 10 minutes. And managed to come back. And the only reason he came back and didn't have major issues is because they immediately did CPR. So he constantly had blood flowing and everything. But yeah, my brother notified me last Sunday that my father passed away, and it's been hard. I've been having to deal with that, and I thought I was dealing with it better than I was. But not so much on Sunday. Sunday, I had an anxiety attack and thought it was a heart attack and literally went to the hospital all day because it was just kind of a comedy of errors, but it was a lot of little things that led up, and I really thought I was having a heart attack. And like I said, I thought I've been dealing with this okay, but apparently not. Apparently, I'm not dealing with it as well as I thought I was. And one of the things that I have been doing is I finished my proton pack, and I thought, you know what? I need to give myself a break. There's several little projects or several other projects. It was funny. This was a big thing for me. Like I've been not dreading, but like, man, this was a big project because it was lots of little projects all in one thing. And so getting that done to me felt like, well, I'm wide open now. Like I can work on whatever I want. So I've actually kind of been excited about working on a new project. And it's kind of hard because I'm like, there's lots of little things I'd like to start working on. It's almost like, well, what do I want to start working on first? But yeah, since last Sunday, I've been like, nope, I'm not going to do anything. And I'm going to continue doing nothing, as it were. I'm having to do some things, but yeah, like, you know, sometimes you need to take a break, and this is an extreme case where, you know, someone you know dies, or you know, something like that, you know, a major change in your life that makes you sit back and go, yeah, you definitely need to take a break. But you know, we need to take breaks regardless. Like, you know, a lot of us have been working constantly, you know, during the COVID-19 outbreak, whether it be stuff at home or for work or a combination of them, or you know, whatever it might be. So that was tonight's topic, was to talk about giving yourself a break and understanding that it's actually really good for yourself. So just jump in with anything you want to.
Honestly, I was surprised that you wanted to do this show already, because I was fully like, okay, we're probably not going to do a show for a little bit, and that's fine with me. So
the reason I wanted to do this show is because I've maintained we don't make any money on this show. I don't expect, you know, a lot, you know,
yeah,
publicity or anything over it. Yeah. So do I. I do this show to talk to my friends. And I was like, I thought about it. I was like, well, we could not do the show because I do have to get up tomorrow morning and go with my wife and my brother, and we're driving to San Antonio to start working on my dad's house. But I was like, no, I need this time to talk with my friends. And I mean, I know it's structured as a show, and we have a topic, but I mean, I'm talking with my friends. That's why I wanted to do the show. So,
aww.
Yeah. So anyway, giving yourself a break.
It's hard. It's very hard to give yourself a break. And I know for me, I had something similar happen last fall where somebody that I love very much passed away very suddenly. And I thought that I was fine. I thought I was doing fine. I was going back to work. Everything was great. And then about a month and a half later, my body was like, fuck you. No, you're not. And I had to go to the hospital twice. With what turned out to be a depersonalization panic attack, which was something completely new for me. And I'm now seeing a psychologist and it's happened before where I'm like, no, I'm fine. I push it off, and then my mental state goes for a shit, and then your body just shuts down. So for me, that was a reset. And then giving myself a break with, like, I not having a job and things like that, or things around the house, and constantly trying to remind myself that I don't always have to be busy. I don't always have to be accomplishing something. I don't always have to I have a really big problem with being comparative and being super hard on myself with, well, this person's doing this, why can't I do that? And I'm really bad for that. So giving myself a break is necessary, but it's really, really hard, because then when I give myself a break, I can slide into a depression. So it's like this weird balance that I have to walk. Are you lucky you married me? So it's weird that I have to like constantly monitor myself that I don't, like, giving myself a break doesn't mean that I'm being lazy or that I'm, slacking off or not being a good person or a good mom or a good wife or whatever. So that's hard for me to give myself a break and push it aside. But if it's a project I don't want to do, I'm the queen of it.
Oh yeah.
Forever, and think about it constantly, but not do it.
Have the guilt of not doing it, but still not doing it, right? Yeah, I have that.
I can do it.
Yes, I've run into that from time to time. The whole, I really should be working on that. I'm not going to, but I really should be working on that.
I have a couple of those at work right now. I'm like, it's so overdue, but I really don't want to do it. I'm just gonna go look at this instead.
Yeah. Rabbit holes are really good / bad for that. Like it's because it can be relaxing to, even if it's another project. So one of the projects I'm looking at doing, one of the things that I've decided I'm going to do with what money I end up inheriting from my dad. I'm going to take some of that money and I am going to convert my Ford Flex into an Ecto.
That's a nice tribute.
It is, because I've been in a parade with another couple that have one that's converted, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. And I was like, man, I really want to do this, but I realized I was like, but I don't want to drive it. Like I want it to be there, and I want it because it would be so helpful in doing the parades instead of having to walk all the way back. It's like, well, just get in the car and you go. But like I decided I didn't want to actually drive it in the parades, and I thought, you know what? I bet my dad would like doing this. So I asked him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that would be fantastic. I'd love to do that." So, yeah, that's one of the ways I'm going to kind of do a tribute to him, is to, because I mean he was a big car nut. I'm not a big car guy, and so it's not like it was something that we could always talk about. But I figured he would have enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to it not just being a hypothetical. Like, so back to what I was talking about, I spent a good part of the day today looking up parts and stuff and trying to figure out some of that stuff. And I mean, there's so many different ways to go, and there's a ton of information I've got to absorb, but I was enjoying it. It was relaxing to me, even though it's going to be a lot of work, it was relaxing to me to go down that rabbit hole of, well, let's just look this up. How much does a light bar cost? How do I install that? How am I going to power it? And yeah, so
I love that you're going to do that. Like he's still a part of it, because you're incorporating that into it. So that's a really cool, like, way to do that.
So,
are you guys going to drive that around as a family? Like, is that going to be permanently all the time?
Okay, no, see, here's the thing. I told Christy it is going to be convertible. It is going to be, I'm going to be able to convert it back to, the day runner. Now, I say that I have looked into this beforehand, and I've asked the question, hey, how many of you guys like use this as your normal day runner? And what issues do you have? And everyone who does it is like, the only issue I ever have is people wanting to slow down on the highway to take pictures. They're like, otherwise I've never had an issue. And I'm just like, yeah, but I also work at a high school, and high schoolers are stupid. So we'll see. It would probably make life easier on me, because I'm having to try to figure out how I'm going to do all this stuff and have it be, convertible or whatever. But yeah, it's.
Well, and you're going to get stupid cons like EGX contacting you and saying, will you be a guest at our con so your car can be, displayed?
They won't have to. I've already volunteered it. I'm like, if I do this, can we park it out front? And they're like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but you were talking about driving around as a family. I thought you meant like parades and stuff. That's kind of why I have these proton packs over here, because I've asked the boy. I thought, well, the boys might want to march, but I have a feeling they might get tired. And if they do, they could just get in the car and wave. So, what's really interesting is after
Ray wants to join.
Yeah, after I asked my dad if he wanted to drive it, I told my wife, and she goes, well, I might want to drive it. And I'm just like, what?
That's awesome.
You might actually jump in on this? And she's like,
could you get her to wear one of the...
Oh, she'll do the jumpsuit, but yeah, so.
Ray, why can't you live closer so you could help him, mod this car?
Oh, I really could use the help. Like,
I ask myself that every day.
So,
I was gonna say, are you gonna convert it so that they're gunner seats and the kids can sit in the gunner seats?
No, not quite. No, oddly enough, though, there are a couple of threads on GB fans, people asking, how would you convert it as a gunner seat? And I'm just like, okay, y'all have gone way over the deep end, but good for y'all. So, but yeah, sometimes going around a rabbit hole, even if it's for a project that you're looking forward to, can be relaxing. So, but yeah, definitely your body forcing you to take a leave of absence is definitely a thing. And like I said, I ran into that on Sunday, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that was scary as shit. So let's not do that again. But yeah, so Lauren, how often do you force yourself to take a break, or do you?
I do sometimes, or my husband does more than I do, because I start to become a bear, and he's like, it's time to step away because nobody can approach you.
Does he have a code word or something?
No, he just tells me straight up, like, I think you need to take a little me time. Gotcha. He's like, anytime anybody says anything, you're snapping. He's like, you need to take a break. Like, especially when I was doing my math.
Snickers.
Nice.
Like, you need to step away. You need to set it down. Do something that's not that.
Yeah.
Well, is it for particular projects, or is it like from everything? Like, is it like you need to not cosplay stuff for this weekend or something like that? Or is it shorter periods?
Because I'm a rabbit hole person. Like, I get on something and then like I will just keep doing it. And especially like I said, like I'll stay up to like 2-3 in the morning and just get no sleep when I decide I need to finish something. And I'll just keep doing it and run off of like 3 hours of sleep for like a week until nobody in the house can take me. And then he's like,
take a nap.
Yeah. Eat some food, get some caffeine, and just leave everybody alone.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's a good man.
What about you, Jen? Do you give yourself a break from time to time, or is it forced upon you?
I don't probably do it as often as I should, but as I get older, I realize, I need to, honor my mental and physical state and step away from things sometimes. Like when I'm at home, I feel like I've constantly got to be working and busy, like Chris said, like I got to be productive. And like last weekend, I actually let myself, like I told you before the show, watch a few movies. Mm-hmm. And like I spent the day hanging out, with friends and you guys, and like just not being productive, like I was like, I'm just going to have fun today and enjoy the company of my friends and not think about all the things that I have to do, because, it's just it's one of those things you just have to like accept that you can't be on all the time. And that's my problem. And I'm trying to be better about it. But I do find that when I step away from things and come back, I have more energy or more like ideas sometimes. I think I've mentioned this before, but like, if I'm writing something or trying to come up with an idea, especially for like the show Sustainably Geeky, and I just cannot think of how to, write the bio or the title. If I just kind of walk away and come back, I'm like, oh, okay, it just comes to me sometimes.
Oh, she froze.
So.
I think it's.
Oh, I don't know if you caught any of that.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
You had frozen for half a second and then it came back.
Yeah. Also, why I want to take a sabbatical really bad because I'm just so burnt out on everything.
Well, you do tend to promise to do a lot of stuff, and we talked about that before the show, saying no, and that definitely helps. Sometimes you do. I don't want to say everyone has to finally hit that point in life, but we talked about it. At some point, if you don't say no and you don't, carve out some time for yourself, it really starts to add up. And you said you have someone you kind of see as a mentor, and they told you something. What was that, Jen?
Well, she says this a lot when she speaks in public and in general, but she, talked about how anytime you say yes to something in your life, you're saying no to something else. So like framing it that way, if I say yes to taking on this responsibility, then I'm saying no to XYZ in my other, my free time. So at that point in my life, I was like saying yes to a lot of volunteer things and and overcommitting to committees and, just extra things at work. And I was like, all right, I got to stop doing this because I have no free time now to do anything else in my life. So
yeah.
Do
y'all feel you have to schedule it?
Free time?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
There's times that you do, yeah. There's days. So I think it's important that if you're one of those people that you feel like you need to be busy all the time, then you absolutely would have to schedule it in. I may not be that type of a person. I may be more a little lackadaisical than others. So I try not to put a lot of pressure on myself for that. But what I will say though is where I have to give myself a break on is giving myself a break on my expectations of what I can do when I start.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a big one.
That's a hard one for me because I have all these, especially when you're at the beginning of the project, it's like, oh, I gotta get this done and this done and this done, and I'm gonna go gun ho. And then 3 days later, you look at everything, and it's like, geez, I didn't get half this list done. So.
Yep.
I'm a failure.
Yeah.
You had it off last week, and you had all of these plans that you were going to get done, and you were like, it felt like you got nothing done.
It felt like I got nothing done, but then I had to look back and okay, no, the bench was built and this was done. I got the kids' desks all put together, and there was a day of travel just to pick those things up.
Yeah.
Got the kitchen island put together, and I've been working on some benches for the sunroom that I'm slowly building, which I'll hopefully get to again. On top of working as well, right? Like I still have to work at home.
I love listening to his timeline. Like, babe, this weekend I'm going to get this, and this. And I'm like, okay, honey, I love you.
Yeah.
This is why I make lists, so I can check it off and see my progress, even if it's something stupid like took the trash out.
Yes, and sometimes those are great to have, but like I fall into the same thing that Ray's talking about, where I schedule. Okay, well Saturday I'm going to get these 3 things done, and you get maybe through a quarter of the way through the first one, and you're just like, well, I'm screwed now.
Yep, because it shouldn't have taken that long, but then this happened, and then this part doesn't fit, so you got to go back to the store and get, or oh shit, I rewired it, I got to take it apart and put it, I got to flip this around and do this, and and then you lose. You're taking at least twice as long, or not 3 times as long as what it should have taken. And then you start a new project, but by the time you want to start the new project, it's time to clean up.
That's a hard one.
And I forget to schedule the cleanup time.
Yes.
Yes, that's the worst part, especially working in the yard. The pickup.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always messaging you guys with like, I'm trying to do this thing and it's not working, and I have like all these things going wrong. What do I do? I know exactly what you mean when nothing goes right.
Well, like my brother was telling us, he just had to go buy a new lawnmower because he's like, I woke up and it was like, now he enjoys mowing the yard. So for him, it's not so much a chore as something he enjoys doing. So he's one of those weirdos. But it's like, okay, well, he scheduled himself. All right, for the next hour and a half, I'm going to be mowing the yard. And he pulls out the lawnmower and fills it up with gas and grabs the cord and goes, and it just rips right on out. And he's just like,
no.
well, shit, so much for that. So he basically spent the next hour and a half. He ended up going back and repairing the lawnmower. So he now has two, but he was like, so I had to go buy a new lawnmower. And he's like, and you get home and you got to get it set up. And there's at least half, if not 3/4 of the time gone. So now, instead of being done by this amount of time and it not being completely under the blazing Texas sun, now I'm going to be mowing and almost dying. So there's that. So.
And then your recovery time is longer. So.
Yeah. Everything else you're supposed to do doesn't get done.
I don't know if you could see that. I had a black cat in front of my proton pack, and I was just like, "What is that sound?" So, anyway,
that happens, and then that's when the ripples keep getting bigger, and
Yep.
knowing when to stop caring about the ripples.
yeah, and that's the other problem is especially, and like I said, I was really bad about this, like scheduling. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to get this done this day and this done the next day, and then if day one doesn't get done and you don't make it up on day two, then it just keeps pushing everything out further and further. So,
Yep.
but so what do you do when you're taking time for yourself?
I watch really soothing shows on either YouTube or Netflix. Like I'll watch. There's this one.
Soothing or like.
I find them soothing.
Or like the worst of humanity.
What do I watch that's the worst of humanity?
What?
Too hot to handle.
Oh, like reality TV bullshit.
Okay.
Yes. But
Tiger
there's,
King.
I found a new hobby that I enjoy, and it's just been recent since buying this house. And so I will dive down that rabbit hole and I find it very interesting. So I find it like calms me down. My dog's freaking out.
Excuse me.
Or just like watch Harry Potter. Harry Potter's my calming balm. It just sort of like, because I can have it running in the background, I can sit and pay attention or not, so look at Harry Potter. My daughter's like frantically nodding yes, and I'll listen to Harry Potter in the car.
We have an addiction to Harry Potter.
Why did JK have to go on that rant?
So I read something about that, and somebody in the fandom was like, you know what, she didn't write them, Harry did. Harry wrote those books, it's not her. He wrote them. I'm like, perfect. Because it's beyond her. It's not even.
Yeah.
The Wizarding World's gotten so much. It's so much bigger than her that's why a lot of people in the fandom are like, we're sad that she said it, but it's so much bigger than her. Like, so, which I think it's very true, very great, because I keep forgetting she actually wrote them.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like Lucas with Star Wars. It's like.
It's bigger than.
If he did something now, it's just like, okay, whatever, George.
He also
This is
sold
well
his
beyond you.
rights to everything.
Yeah.
True. He's a little bit different story, but it's still well beyond him. So, but
Yeah. So I try to watch and do things, and sometimes I'll bake to calm myself down and take a break, or go for a walk.
walk's
But-
good.
Bug me for
I know
sure.
you're right.
Yeah.
What do you do to relax, Ray?
Oh, well.
This is a loaded question.
Relax.
Um,
What is that?
That's every day. Like I make sure, I honestly do. I try and take at least a little bit of time every day to just chill. And if I'm not getting that time, I'll make sure I, go to the washroom for a little longer than I need to, and just be by myself for a little while. Lock that door. But no, honestly, it's just taking the time, making sure.
You're very good at that.
I really make sure that I try and take time for myself. And it can be as simple as just chilling on the catching up on news, but I really try not to do that anymore. Look at what I'm great at going down rabbit holes, especially if I'm researching something.
Yeah.
I love to research. I don't know why. I find it fascinating. So right now, my current research is for a new car. And so I will go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out what exact car I should be buying. And it can be like Chris knows, I've taken a year to decide on what car I want to get.
Yep.
Because it's just, I got to research it. And
but it's not like an annoying thing for you. You enjoy that research.
I
That's
enjoy
why.
it. I really do.
Yeah. And you usually, when we go to the dealership, you know more about the car than the dude selling you to.
It usually pisses them off.
And you're getting an electric or hybrid next time, right?
So
when the Kia,
or is this a different one?
When the Kia goes,
when the Kia's up,
so whenever you go to buy that, I can pick your brain and be like, okay, what did you learn? Because I'm gonna want to buy one of those at some point.
When you're ready, Jen, let me know because I'll do the research anyway because that's what I love to do. So
yeah, and I hate researching cars, and I get overwhelmed, and I'm like, I don't know, I just want it to be safe and drive me from point A to point B.
I absolutely love doing it. That's something that's very common. I know. Trust me. I felt like I should have become a researcher of some sort because I love doing that kind of research. So
you could do a car podcast.
Could. A little epically, I don't know.
We'll figure out the name later.
Motively geeky. I don't know. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're very good.
Lauren, what do you do to relax when you're not constantly crafting?
Well, I've recently started trying to do yoga in the mornings before.
Oh, okay.
So I try to get up early. So I usually get up early anyways. I get up between 5 and 6 on a normal basis. So I try to get up and do a little, at least like
Chris's
30
face. Chris is like, why?
Why are you getting up at 5 in the morning?
Does that time even exist anymore? I thought we got rid of that.
It does. I'm not a big sleeper.
We voted it out in Canada.
Yeah.
So.
The day doesn't start till 7 a.m.
Yes.
I get to sleep in a little later now that in the summer because she's not in school. So I try to get up around 6. But when she's in school, I definitely get up at 5. So, and then I'm a binge watcher. So that's what I like to do to relax is I pick something and I like totally binge it, the entire thing.
Good deal.
And see, that's a big part of the reason I don't watch TV is because I am too, and I know if I get stuck on a show, I will just waste like the rest of my life on it, even though I have been stuck on the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones for like months. I want to know what happens. I'm just like, I can't start right now. I'm scared.
I like binge watching too, especially if I know the season's only like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can totally do it.
I'm totally guilty. And I hate starting something if I can't sit there and binge watch the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I try to stay away from it because I know I'm bad.
Because you want to know what happens.
Yeah. Especially when you started. I'm like, just one more episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm very bad for that.
We have a couple of those.
Yes. Sometimes I'll just keep watching until it tells me, are you sure you still want to watch? And I'm like, okay, well, now I got to do something.
And
normally at that point, it's like, okay, just one more. And then.
It depends how long
Amazon is even more judgmental than Netflix. It's just like, are you still watching? Yes, I am. Click. Quit nagging.
Disney, after a certain while, will only let you'll have to hit play on each one after a certain time.
I haven't hit that yet. That's interesting.
Unless you kick out of it and then go back into that, and then it'll play.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
That's Disney trying to be like, you need to get up,
Walk
walk around a little.
I've ran into that with Disney. My daughter watches Princess Sophia, and she like lets it run in the background. She's not really watching it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets irritated because she'll have to keep hitting play on it.
So yeah, you just got to go back to the main menu and then select the season again, and then keep going from there.
Pro tip.
I'll have to tell her that.
Pro relaxation tip.
Yeah. We figured that out with The Simpsons because Quinn loves having The Simpsons on.
Yes.
Same idea. It's just background noise. So.
Yep. Good deal. Jen, what do you when you do find time to relax / force yourself to relax?
Prior to COVID, traveling was a big part of that. Like, it was an escape because when I wasn't at home, I didn't have to feel guilty about all the shit I had to do and all the projects I had half started. So travel was a great way for me to just like escape from that. And now that I can't do that, yeah, it's a little harder. But I'll try to like, I'll force myself to just do something mindless, like these stupid board games that we started playing. I'll go online and play that for. I go through these phases, right? Like if I get into something, like okay, I'm gonna play this game for a while, or I'm gonna, read these books for a while, or I'm gonna watch these movies, and I'll get a little like obsessive about it, and then I'll move on to something else. But yeah, also just being outside, trying to hike, and I enjoy it so much, but then I sometimes have to force myself to do it because, I get so caught up in the day-to-day stuff. So yeah, that's my big ones.
Yeah, for me, it's and it's funny because I'll even make it a task to do some of the things that I like to do to relax. So, and of course, I think I do that because I can kind of secretly tell myself, well, I'm relaxing, but I'm also accomplishing something at the same time. Case in point, today my boys specifically Nicholas and I watched Iron Man 2. And it was one of those things I was like, well, they're old enough. Let's sit down and watch the Marvel movies. So it's like, yes, I was sitting there and kind of half on my phone looking up some car stuff, but also rewatching this movie that I haven't watched in forever. Like I remember most of it, but I'm just like, I forgot some of that stuff happened. But I can tell myself, hey, guess what? We've checked off yet another movie on the list of things that we need to watch. So I'm being productive, but I'm relaxing as I'm doing it. I think I have to kind of like fool myself, half-assed wise to do that sometimes. So like if I decide to play a video game, sometimes I'll feel bad for playing something I'm just playing honestly to goof off with, like Tetris. I
love Tetris.
I'm not doing this to like, I'm not competing or anything. I'm just playing it to play it. And I'm just like, but you still haven't finished Luigi's Mansion 3. Maybe you should really go back to that. So
I haven't played video game in a while, but when I played like NES and Super NES games, like I would do that. I would get like hours and hours of just Tetris or whatever, games like that, like Dr. Mario. Like I could really go all in for that on a marathon. And
the next time you come over, I'll have to introduce you to Tetris 99. It is insane.
What is that?
It basically you can either play it online. I don't have the online subscription, so I can't play it online against other people. But basically, you're playing Tetris against 99 or 98 other bots, and as you complete lines, it dumps rows on other players, and then they will dump rows on you as well. So literally. You're not only just playing as long as you can, you're also playing to try to outlast everyone else. And God, it is a lot of fun.
See, I never really played it competitively. I would always just try to like play against myself and see how like many levels I could get to. And like when
you can do that as well.
Bitbar used to have Tetris on one of their machines, and that was like the one I was most excited to play. I go into an arcade and I want to play Tetris, but then they got rid of it. So now I'm like, oh, well, these aren't my kind of games, so I suck at all these games. I could play some Tetris.
But, yeah, so, I mean, like, I'll play games or I'll watch a TV series. Like, the other night I was trying to figure it out. I was like, okay, I kind of want to start something. Don't start anything. Do not start anything. Watch something. So I was like, all right, well, what am I going to watch? And I settled on Lock and Key, and I'm enjoying it thus far. But like I was telling the ladies before the show, I was like, I wonder if anyone has designed these keys that I could 3D print. So from what I've seen, no one has, at least not that they're sharing the files freely. And I'm just like, so then I start looking, I'm like, how hard would it be to design these keys? So.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Yeah, no joke.
So I have a question for all you parents because this truly baffles me. I have the hardest time like keeping my life organized and finding time to do everything, like, housework, relax, like projects that need to get done, volunteering. I like the idea of bringing a full like life into that, another life into my world, like stresses me out so much because I'm like, I can't even handle myself. How do people with kids do it? Like, how do you guys manage to be responsible for another being and still maintain your own life and sanity? I truly want to know.
It gets easier. There's harder things, but it does get easier. The first several years though are just the most painful, and you literally have to shut, like, I mean, we shut down the site and the podcast for years because I was like, I've got twin boys and this is not going to work. I've got work, I've got home, and then I've got that. And to be honest with you, I had a professor in college at one point that, of course, talking to college students, they were all rolling their eye. Like you could almost hear them rolling their eyes. It was so dramatic. But he's like, listen, you only can do about 2.5 things. He's like, so you've got to kind of make a decision. Are you going to do college and work, and then your friends are going to be, I'm going to see y'all every so often? Or is it going to be you college and your friends, and you're only going to work? He's like, you cannot do more than about 2.5 things. And of course, whatever, I can do this. And, if you are working full time and going to school full time, you come to realize real quick, wow, when was the last time I hung out with people? Like that's been a while. So it's one of those things. And I've jokingly told people, I can't remember who I told this to last time. I was like, because they asked kind of the similar question. And I basically told them, if you can manage to do everything that you're doing now, double that, and in half the time, you'll be okay having a kid. Otherwise, you're going to have to figure out stuff to cut out. Because otherwise
you have the same amount of hours in the day. You're essentially getting less sleep when you start having kids, at least for the first few years. So you're like tired on top of it all. And I guess it's just a matter of reprioritizing, like you said, and getting rid of stuff. But I'm just like,
I would say it's not getting rid of, it's putting stuff on pause.
Yes.
And that's the thing that you have to be okay with, putting certain things on pause. I know for me, a bunch of stuff went on pause. I didn't play hockey for a while. I didn't have nights out with friends like we used to. There was a lot of stuff that we put on pause for a while, and then
the kids get older.
The kids get older. They get more like. It's like Eugene said, the older they get, the more free time you get yourself. That's how we were able to do the things with the house that we did before. That's how we're able to do the house at work. How I got back into art.
Yeah. Like you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You can have everything you've ever dreamed about, but you can't do it all at once. And I think that's the biggest mistake when people go into parenting or anything in life. It's just like you can't do it all at the same time. And if you think you can, you're going to burn out really quick. And the things that matter the most are the things you're going to burn out with the quickest. So, and then the other thing, because my sister-in-law was having an issue with this too, because she just started a business and it went bonkers right away. She wasn't prepared for it. So I'd heard a quote from a writer, I think it was, it's like you're constantly juggling the balls. Some of the balls are plastic and some of them are glass. Some of the glass balls are family balls. Some of them are work balls. Some of the plastic balls are work and some of the plastic ones are family. So it's just a matter of making sure you're just dropping the plastic balls and not the glass balls. Because some things with family, it's like, okay, I don't have to be there for your rehearsal for your play, but I do have to be there for the big show. Or work, I don't have to be at this meeting, but I do have to be here for this presentation. That kind of stuff. Like it's always a constant compromise with everything. Compromising constantly all the time with everything.
And then even then, you still have to have that break. Like, we were supposed to have our Geeks Weekend, but unfortunately, COVID has kind of knocked that out. Even though I'm now planning on trying to figure out how we can do that sometime later this year, even if it's a miniaturized version. in honor of my dad, because he did enjoy playing board games with us. But like my wife is on her way back right now. She's on the road from the airport. She had her girls' weekend. Like it was supposed to be last weekend, and then like I said, my dad passed away, and her and her friends had a chance to reschedule it, and she's like, it's really bad that it happened Sunday that she left because I had that breakdown. But literally, I was texting her and I was like, my chest is really, I think I'm pretty sure it's just an anxiety attack. And she's like, do you want me to come home? And I'm like, no, do not come home. You need this, because she's been stuck in the house for the most part the last several months with the kids and trying to do her job and trying to do, teach at home and everything else. And she needs this once a year. She needs to get out with her friends and just hang out and do whatever the hell she wants. And, I've figured out the same thing. I need that every year. So even though we're having to push it back, it's something that I'm looking forward to. And of course we've started doing miniaturized versions of that. We started doing the monthly game sessions, and we've been doing a virtual board game night, and it helps. It helps to be able to say, yeah, it's Saturday night. The boys are in bed. I can definitely go pull out some foam, or I can pull up my computer and I can start, designing something, or I can start, crafting something. But no, I'm gonna sit down here and play board games with my friends and goof off, and you need that. So.
Her ass again.
Do what?
Watch Jen kick her ass again.
Yes, because she got really good at some of those. So, and she's really ruthless too. So.
Yeah, so rude.
But yeah, so kind of going back to that. But yeah, just and like someone like you said, Jen, I have found that, I'll be working on something and it's not working out and I can't figure it out, and it's getting to 1 or 2 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, you know what? Stop, go to sleep, hit it again tomorrow morning. And at least 50% of the time I'll wake up and go, did I try that? Maybe if I do this will work. And it doesn't always work, but it gives me a new, fresh idea on how to attack the problem. So.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I will tend to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Just like, why isn't it working? So, but yeah.
That's your question about kids though. But sometimes you'll find out that things you thought were super important before kids, you will learn absolutely are not important.
That's also a very good point too.
Yeah. Like I thought were like my goals and stuff before I had my daughter I look back and I was like, wow, my perspective was all out of whack.
Yeah,
they change your outlook on things.
Oh yeah.
I'm even learning that without kids. I'm like looking back at my memories on Facebook from 5 and 10 years ago, and I'm like, why did I stress out so much over that? Why was that such a big part of my life? Or that was just so silly and trivial, and that was like the biggest time suck or whatever at that time. I think, yeah, we prioritize things when we're younger that aren't as important.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my wife and I constantly look at each other and go, God, we were stupid. Like, number one, where was all this extra? What were we doing with all this extra time? And number two, what were we doing with all this extra money? Because I'm not really making any more money than I was then, and I'm still managing it. And I should have had a lot more money back then than I did. I don't know where the fuck it went. So
in my case, travel is what I'm doing with most of my extra money, but I know that's one of the things that's like you got to cut out, severely if you're, especially with little ones.
Yeah,
unless you just really want that headache.
You know what?
Yeah.
That being said, when they're younger, especially if they're like little, I know you don't want to be the parent with the baby on the plane that's crying, but the more they travel, the more they get used to it, and they're free for a little while.
Yeah.
For when they're really young, so if you can swing it, go for it.
Acclimate them, yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's what we did with restaurants with the kids. We started taking them to restaurants when they were like a couple of weeks old.
They'd still be in the car, and they would sleep through the whole thing.
Yeah, because they need that extra noise, or else they wake up from anything.
And just learned etiquette of now they're like pros at it. But yeah, like we had friends of ours. They went on a really big trip. I think their daughter was like 6 months old, but they were avid travels before, and then they just kept doing it. And then her little sister, they're champs. They're like veteran travelers now.
Yeah. That's
And
awesome.
the cost doesn't up it until later, right?
Well, until they're like 2.
Until they're about 2, and then that's when the cost starts going up a bit more.
You have to buy a seat for them on a plane. Yeah.
Goobers.
And I like traveling with the kids. I like taking them places. I like showing them things. I like doing that. Like taking them. But we were really bummed out we couldn't take them to England because they would have loved it. But yeah, your priorities are different. As Leonard was saying, your time, just you want to shift it. I mean, they're all encompassing for so long. It's the days are long, but the years are short.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, is that true. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also like important to have a partner that helps like the give and take, right? Because I see you guys, both of y'all, and Lauren, I don't know your husband as well, but it seems like you guys have a similar situation where you'll give each other the time to like have alone time or do your own thing and then come back, and like do things as a family or do things as a couple or whatever. And I feel like that would be so important to me, knowing that I have that support system and I can like, I gotta take a break or whatever.
Sometimes it takes guys a little bit longer to figure it out, though. I love my husband, but it took him a little while to figure this out.
Yeah.
Because he worked nights when we first had her. He worked nights like the first 10 years of marriage. So he thought when he came home, he didn't have to help. Because he got to go to
I'm working too.
Yeah, I was working full time too. So it was like being a single mom at first. Sometimes you can't expect them to know everything unless you tell them. And I learned that the hard way. Because you're stressed and they don't know it if you don't tell them what's going on. You're just getting mad and they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom and dad were kind of that way. My mom likes to tell a story of at one point she crawled up on the cabinet just so that I don't remember if it was just me or me and my brother. We couldn't touch her. She was just like, I cannot be touched right now. Just leave me alone.
Stay away.
So, yep. So, but yeah, that having that time away or stuff like that is definitely helpful. Boy, he is determined to get back in here.
It was something that we each had to learn for ourselves as well, though, that we needed that time for ourselves.
Yes.
And to find whatever that is that we needed, right? So for me, getting back into hockey was a really big thing because it was physical activity, but it was also my time for just me. Like, I'm the only one in this house that enjoys hockey to this degree. Logan will sit down and watch a game once in a while. Quinn doesn't really have any interest in it, and Chris certainly doesn't. So I love hockey.
Are you even Canadian, Chris?
No, here as well. They're going to revoke my card.
They are. I'm holding them off because I'm eating poutine for them. So. But yeah, it's something that we've all had to learn, and you will figure out what is the important thing for you that you want to keep.
Yeah, it's all trial and error. Everything's all trial and error. You just hope you don't fuck up your kids.
And see, my thing was a double whammy. I had to give up doing the show because I didn't have enough time to keep up with it. Granted, we were also doing it a weekly show, but that was also how I hung out with my friends. And I was like, I have to give this up. But then I felt very alone and got very depressed because I felt alone. It would have been different if I had friends locally that, I could have, maybe hung out with or whatever. But granted, you and I hang out, Jen, from time to time. But for the most part,
we didn't know each other back then.
Yeah, we didn't really know each other then. But it's like, for the most part, most of the group was, at least, especially at that time, was all online. It was just like, well, I'm doing what I need to do, so I have the time to do what I need to do, but I also don't have my escape anymore. And it was tough. So I learned very quickly you have to have that escape.
Having social interactions is always important. Like, even when you have limited time, it helps, like, you've got to have your time with friends or with other people. I think that's just, we all need that.
I agree. So, well, does anyone want to throw anything else in about taking time for yourself, giving yourself a break?
Just make sure you do it.
Yeah.
Just trying not to feel guilty about it. That's what I'm struggling with.
That too. So, all right, well, let's move on to our goals for next month. I'm going to go ahead and jump in first. I'm off for the next month. At some point we're installing a pool. I'm going out of town this weekend to work on my dad's house. I really don't know what my life is going to be like over the next month. So I'm going to say my project is working on me.
Taking a break from stuff.
I'm going to try to do my best to take a break. That's going to be my thing. Now, that being said, if I feel energetic and want to work on a project, then I've got several projects I'm really excited to start, at least if nothing else, researching. There's a belt gizmo that goes on the Ghostbusters costume that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and I'm excited about doing that. I'm excited about maybe working on these proton packs behind me. I'm excited about working on my new ghost trap. I'm excited about researching my car. So I'm not going to commit to anything except for saying that for next month, I'm going to kind of work on me. So that's my project, and that may come in one of many different forms. So we'll see. So, Ray, what's your project for
next
if you have one?
Within this next month, I want to take you guys on a tour of the house.
Yes.
We need to schedule that. And then the other thing that I, at least creatively, I'm going to do, because this is a very creative project, is I'm creating some benches for our sunroom. So I'm working on that.
2 different types, because I'm that kind of wife.
There are 2 different types that fit together in an L shape.
So bougie.
Yeah.
So they got to match, but they don't. So that's my creative process that I'm going to be working on for this month.
Good deal. Chris, what's your project you want to work on?
I need to come up with something for you.
Just 2. So living in this house, as far as I know, was built in 1910. It's the oldest house we've ever lived in. I absolutely love it. I found a documentary series on YouTube. I think it aired on an English television channel, and it's called Restoration Home. And I'm obsessed with it, and I love it. And so it's gotten me into trying to figure out how old this house is, who lived here, all that kind of stuff. So I've emailed like 4 different people trying to figure this out. I've also started watching a YouTube channel called Farmhouse Vernacular. She's an engineer, and she's renovating her 100-year-old house, and I've been obsessed with her because she does a lot of research, and she gives out a lot of links. And so yeah, my project is going to be trying to figure out as much history about this house as I absolutely can, because I think it's fascinating, and all the little quirks and how the layout and everything is just, yeah, it's fascinating to me. So I'm going to try to figure that out, and also get up all of the pictures on the wall that we have.
Nice.
Be great.
Lauren, what are you working on for next month?
Same stuff that I can't manage to get myself to get done.
Should I just write ditto or?
Yeah. Lauren needs to get her butt in gear. It's due in August.
Oh, okay. Well then, yes.
Yes.
Very cool. Jen, what are you going to work on for next month?
I don't know.
Do you need to work on yourself, Jen?
I always need to work on myself, I feel like.
Then work on yourself.
I'm just burnt out. I'm looking at this long ass list of shit that I, been working on since March, since, quarantine. And I'm just like, I don't have the energy to do any of it, but I need to, because it's all shit around the house. It's been just piling up, and I don't know. I'm just tired.
You know what? This is, and if it doesn't work for you, by no means do you have to do this. I'm looking at your list that you just kind of flashed real quick. One thing that I've always helped myself do, if I have a list like that where it's like there's just so much on it still, I rewrite it out, and with only just the stuff that I need to do, and then it looks like a smaller list again. And I don't know, that's just something that helped me before, because then I'll reprioritize as I'm writing it out. Okay, I kind of like this one. I'll do that one next.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there anything on the list you probably could weed out?
Well, I mean, I messaged y'all about getting that stupid bidet installed. I need to just like finish that. That's a silly project, but I've had this thing since December. I don't know. I think I just want to like, and this is a terrible time of year to do it. I just want to try to like be outside more and hike and reconnect with nature some. You know, I've been trying to just like hike once a week, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's been kind of unattainable, and I've just not done it. But I need to think focus in on that, because I do feel refreshed when I am outside. So I'm going to say that I'm going to try to hike more, maybe camp. I don't know if I'm going to camp in this weather, but we'll see.
Yeah, it might be a little warm for that, but
Yeah.
I'd say come up to Canada, but the border's still closed.
Yeah, you can't.
I know. I want to go. I want to travel so bad. It's so crazy.
Well, that is our show for the month, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Music. You can check out the other shows: Epically Geeky, Marginally Geeky, Sustainably Geeky, and Procrastinators when we do finally get around to do another episode. Maybe that's something I should be working on. You can find us at epicallygeeky.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as YouTube at Epically Geeky. Where can we find you online, Jennifer?
Here on Epically Geeky, usually sometimes Marginally Geeky and Sustainably Geeky, and our next show will be out next week. It'll be about low waste living and giving you ideas for Plastic Free July. And on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Het's Gonna Be Me.
Lauren, where can we find you?
You can find me here. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Lauren Ray Cosplay.
Ray, where can we find you?
One of these days, I'm going to start posting again. The Reluctant Yeti on Instagram, and you can find Raymond Andrew on Facebook as well. Yeah, my Etsy store is still mostly closed. I think I've only got one thing up there right now, just because everything is still going on. So.
Yep. Chris, where can we find you online?
You can find me here and on Marginally Geeky and Epically Geeky and Sustainably Geeky and on Instagram at Borough Life.
And as always, you can follow my individual wacky adventure online at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For everyone on the site, have a good night.